Hi, this video was recorded before the wave of takes from other creators has washed over me. I have not heard a single podcast breaking down the plot or seen an ending explain video or anything like that. This is the freshest take I've been able to have on a movie so far this year, and if I'm wrong about everything, that's my bad, dog. I'm trying to just put my thoughts down as soon as possible so it's as biased as humanly fucking possible. Haha, so anyway, here's my take on Cuckoo. Welcome back to NerdFap. I am here to discuss my thoughts regarding the new Neon film Cuckoo, written and directed by Tillman Singer. This appears to be kind of a joint venture between the States and Tillman Singer's home of Germany, where almost all of the movie takes place. The letterbox premise. After reluctantly moving to the German Alps with her father and his new family, Gretchen discovers that their new town hides sinister secrets as she's plagued by strange noises and frightening visions of a woman pursuing her. The film stars Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, Jessica Henwick, and Martin Xakis. The trailer for this movie was really fun, propulsive, and intriguing, and perhaps even a little scary. This is a really early video I'm putting out, so I won't get into depth too much with spoilers, or if I do, I'll let you know beforehand per semi-usual. I was excited most to see how Hunter Schafer would do in a lead role. I found her to be pretty magnetic in Euphoria, and was excited to see her pop up in Kinds of Kindness, but she didn't really have much to do in that. So this was a really great opportunity to showcase her abilities. Dan Stevens, always a win. He elevates everything he's in my opinion. So what did I like? The performances are all just as good as I expected, and I think Hunter Schafer really earns her place as one of the better leads in a horror film this year. I think despite me liking Longlegs more than Cuckoo, spoiler, I liked Hunter in this movie more than I liked Micah Monroe in that. Since I'm arbitrarily comparing two different movies, I will say I prefer the villain in Longlegs much more than the villains in this. I'll stop comparing now. I love the German Alps setting. Everything takes place at this resort that's got to be so far from our character's home that we see her long for throughout the film. A little Twin Peaks, a little Cure for Wellness. And speaking of David Lynch, I think this movie balances horror and comedy very well. It might be one of my favorite things about it. Every line seems to be written intentionally obtuse, and while I'm about to shit on this movie a little bit, I could see myself rewatching no problem if it came to streaming or showing somebody this movie for the first time, because there's a lot of very fun set pieces and imagery to see. I walked out with a positive vibe from it, is all I'm saying. But here's some problems I had. I think the movie has a hard time with paying off what it's setting up. There are two villains in this movie, sort of a big bad and his creation, his monster. And how the two actually are connected was a little bit lost on me by the end. And if you guys weren't lost like me and understood it completely, let me know in the comments. Full spoilers allowed in comments. How about that? But Dan Stevens' whole plan just didn't really click with me by the end, and because of that, the rest of the villain plot felt unsatisfying, and not in a Lovecraftian way where it doesn't need to make sense, but just in a very real, I would like to know more lore about this, because without the lore, I'm not scared. Without the lore, I'm bored. But the movie does do a good job making you feel confused. In title alone, that is what this film accomplished, just maybe not in the way it intended, ultimately. You know that thing people hate where everything was a dream, or there's some giant twist where everything is put through another lens and it brings clarity for the character, even though the audience might feel like their time was wasted. I feel weird saying this, but I think Cuckoo could have benefited from sort of a clean slate moment in the end, because the things happening to her and the paranoia and all that craziness just hits a fever pitch where I want to say, look, I like all these visuals and set pieces, but if you're gonna leave me at the end with the understanding that this was all real and not in her head in any way, and Dan Stevens really did all this stuff, my suspension of disbelief does take a hit. I would have liked Cuckoo to be crazier, is one way to put it. On the bright side, it does do like reality hiccups where time is flashing back and forth within a small pocket of time, better than Madam Web did. The gaslighting and strange manipulation tactics the movie subjects our lead character to does rub off on the viewer at certain points, and does do a good job of making you think you're going crazy as well. But once the movie begins to resolve itself and you still feel crazy, I just felt like there were some loose ends I needed tied up in order for the story to feel truly resolved. Before seeing Cuckoo, I was describing what it looked like to my friend as sort of a prestige horror comedy because of the studio. I keep trying to articulate this in a way that gives the movie the benefit of the doubt. I always want to give movies the benefit of the doubt, especially when I have a bias towards its studio or stars. Neon has made some incredible movies, and for several years has been the And also, to A24, people say A24 to describe what Neon movies are like. That's in my personal experience, not the other way around. Neon made Titan though, so fuck yeah. I just felt a little bit unsatisfied by the preconceived notion of prestige that Cuckoo I thought would have. That was my bad. This is a perfectly fine horror comedy. Dry as a bone and sardonic and dark, but I think it really works well when combined with the cast. I think everyone can agree that the absolute best outcome as someone who likes to talk about movies is that the movie is either amazing or horrible, because both options are fun to talk about. But the toughest to work with is when a movie is just straight up kind of mid, dude. And Cuckoo for me was just straight up kind of mid, dude. And having Neon be such a great spotlight for independent film, I always want to watch whatever the biggest movie they're trying to distribute is and hopefully champion it. Benefit of the doubt type shit. Neon and A24 both have their hits and misses. I just really was hoping Cuckoo would be a hit for me personally. And hopefully it will be a huge dub in terms of like box office numbers and things like that. I think my expectations were a little bit too high, but if you went in with no expectations, I'd love to hear what you thought. First reaction. Did the plot make more sense to you than me as it unraveled? Did you feel like there were some things you would have liked to have explained, or was the journey enough for you? Is this a vibe, movie? I'm down to get on board with that. I don't know what the culture's feeling. I don't know how the culture feels about it yet. So I wanted to like this a lot more than I did, but whatever. Last thing, click away from this. This is a giant spoiler if you have not seen the movie. I'm posing a question to my audience here to please answer for me in the comments. So spoilers in the comments as well. At the end, was the lady the whole time just her dead mom? All right, see ya.
Ain't in my best yet, just let me work. Less than good, it's better than worse.